Hi, this is Dodger, and you're watching my show.
Three, two, one, ready, go!
What's up, guys? I've been super feeling the sit-down episodes. The last one, I was specifically sitting down because I knew I was going to be talking forever, but oof. Nice. It's nice to just like sit and chill and talk about the news. Also, fun fact about last week's episode, a bunch of you messaged me being like, hey, did you know that it's like slightly out of focus? Which, while I was editing it, I realized that it was slightly out of focus, but let's be real, I had been recording for so long that I was like, I'm not gonna redo it. But it's because we used the autofocus feature on this camera for the very first time. And apparently my background is just so glorious that it had no interest in me. So now we're back to manual focus, which is a pain in the butt when you're all by yourself. Okay, so let's talk about news. I promise you, and this I do solemnly swear, none of these topics are about Blizzard. There are no Blizzard games, nothing about the company. They will not be mentioned in this episode aside from right now. Because when I was looking through articles, there's still so much about Blizzard properties, and I'm like, there's other stuff, y'all. For our first piece of news is kind of a PSA. There's lots of Sun and Moon details that are being leaked everywhere. If you're somebody who doesn't want to know anything about Pokemon Sun and Moon, you might want to avoid the internet. There's basically a group of people who all got the game early, somehow. And I believe that it started on 4chan, but information started to just be posted online. It traveled further and further, more and more people were suddenly getting advanced copies of the game and putting more leaks up. So what are you doing in my life? Fly. He decided to be my best friend. Not today. Not today. A lot of my friends have been spoiled on stuff already. They're really upset about it. Please, please, please be careful. I know that this is like telling Game of Thrones fans to try and not be spoiled on Game of Thrones. I'm like 2 seasons behind. I basically know everything that's happened. But you know, in this situation, the game isn't even out yet. It's not your fault. It's not like you could have already had the game and been playing it. Like, these aren't released. So it really sucks that all of the information is just kind of in people's faces at the moment. So again, just be careful. There are lots of websites, actually, fun fact, there are lots of websites that allow you to put in blacklisted words. So you can basically like filter a lot of websites being like, I don't want to know anything about this topic, right? If that option is available to you, maybe throw Pokemon in there. I hate this. Did I get it? Okay, continuing with Pokemon news, because we might as well just knock all the Pokemon stuff out while we're here. Niantic, the people who developed Pokemon Go and also Ingress, have said that they're hoping that Pokemon Go will be long-lasting in the same way that World of Warcraft is, which I think is a pretty big ask. Like, it's obvious that they didn't realize how big Pokemon Go was going to be, right? They were short-staffed, they didn't know how to communicate with us, they didn't even have a community manager. And now it looks like they're looking back on the way that they treated the game when it first started and being like, oh my god, we were so unprepared, we didn't know how to handle this, we made some bad choices, right? And they're slowly adding more and more people onto the team. They're trying to come up with a system that really works, explaining some of the reasons that they made decisions like taking down Pokevision, which I and a lot of people were really like upset with, but I guess it was taxing their servers really bad. Just in general, like, they had an amazing start and then it immediately did this just because of how the game was handled, right? And it's plateaued. Like, there are plenty of people who are still playing it, but not anywhere near the number of people who originally downloaded the game, right? We're more an MMO than anything else. We have 2-week client sprints, 2-week server-side sprints. Every 2 weeks, there's new content or bug fixes going into the game. There's key content releases that we're planning. I think our lifespan and curve may be quite different from a free-to-play mobile game. It may be more in a World of Warcraft vein, just because of the type of game we are. It's not about taking a bunch of money off the table and going. Monetization has never been the focus for us. It's about doing right by the brand and doing right by the fans. I would say, if I'm being brutally honest, I would say that there was a point where they realized oh my god, us not communicating with the fans and being really shady has a really bad effect on our game. Like any of us who were playing for that big first sprint, right? Any of us who were playing during that time, we saw lots of conflicting information. We saw big spans of time with no information at all. And they've explained that that has to do with them not having a community manager and things like that. But even still, the fact that they just mismanaged the game in a way that made all of us feel like they didn't really care about our opinion. Like, it was so wildly popular at the beginning that they were like, I mean, it's not like you guys are gonna stop playing. And then eventually we stopped playing, right? And I might be totally wrong about that. They might have, from the very beginning, really wanted to make everybody happy. They might have just been overwhelmed and not really sure what to do or how to handle all of this. That is absolutely possible. But for them to say, like, the fans have always been what keeps us going, and it's always all about the fans. I'm like, at the beginning, it did not feel that way as a fan. People are still waiting on trading, so that kind of sucks. But I do like that there's like a huge write-up on Eurogamer. I do like that it sounds like they're trying to figure out how to have a really stable, successful, consistently updated game. And I think that that would be what they need in order to keep people around and gain people back. On November 7th, aka N7 Day, we got a Mass Effect Andromeda trailer. So first things first, trailer is fantastic. What makes me laugh is the exact same community of people who were like, I really hope that they don't give us another Shepard. I hope that they put a little more effort into creating a new character for us. Those same people are like, wow, this kid looks like Shepard could just beat him in a fight. And I'm like, yeah, obviously, because he's not a soldier. He's a completely different character, like you asked for. BioWare is claiming that all of the footage is running in real time and that the game will be coming out in spring of 2017, which I think is a lot earlier than a lot of people expected the game to come out. It will be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Dope. With the way that Mass Effect 3 played out and the fact that so many people were upset about it, I think that it would have been easy for a new Mass Effect game to be greeted with a lot of cynicism, right? Regardless of how good the trailer looked. It would be really easy for the community in general to be like, okay. But I think, again, because this is a totally different story with a totally different hero, just set in the same world, right? I think that that helps a lot. It gives people this feeling of, I love the Mass Effect world, I wasn't happy with the last one, but this is a fresh start. This is a new story. And look at this sweet little baby. He's a little baby boy. Anywho, if you would like to see that trailer, you can find the link in the description below, and then write what a sweet baby boy in the comment section. I'm gonna look later. I'm gonna look and see if you did it. Turtle Rock Studios released an unfinished Left 4 Dead campaign that they abandoned after Valve took over for it. The download is, again, unfinished. You can play it, but it's not complete, right? It's not all cleaned up. But the campaign is called Damn It. There are also 2 standalone survival maps, I believe. And Damn It starts you off in an airfield, and then you wind up going through like an apple orchard and all of this stuff. And there are 2 different areas that you can wind up in at the very end of it, which sounds pretty cool. Dude, I would love a new Left 4 Dead game. I think it's fantastic. But Valve does not like making third installments of things. How does a company wind up making games that people love so much and then basically just stop developing games altogether? That seems so weird to me. Battleborn players rallied together to create Battleborn Day to help promote the game and try and get new players to come in and try it out. So on the subreddit, BKNDX made a post and said, as time has gone on, the problem's shifted to a low player base, a large skill gap, matchmaking. So the question is, how do we bring in new players and keep them? If we can get an event going for a day where we get as many players online to play as many games as they can, it will solve matchmaking issues and it will allow everyone to try the game. As a community of high-level elites, we should recognize that if we get this going, there's going to be a huge influx of noobs. So we should be doing our best to not pub stomp, don't ruin their first impressions of the game, no double legendary loadouts, experiment with new characters, try to keep away from the meta, and we'll shoot for the second Saturday of November starting at 3 o'clock. And thus, Battleborn Day was born. I love this. I love the idea of a community being like, our game isn't very popular, but we love it. So what's something that we can do as a community, right? What's something that we can do to get a bunch of people interested in playing? To the point that they actually went to the devs and they were like, yo, we want to do this thing. Like, what do you think? Because, you know, it's Gearbox employees were super, super excited about it. They sweetened the pot. They added all kinds of stuff for Battleborn Day. It's just really, really cool. Like, I know that they're struggling a lot. And you guys know, I really liked Battleborn. I thought that it was a great game, super, super fun. Sam and TB and me and a couple other people, like, we would play fairly regularly when it came out. But again, like, there were just less and less and less people playing. The queue times were so long. It was really, really hard to play. So I love that the community thought up this idea and the devs were super receptive to it. We're like, yeah, let's do this, right? And they actually just released their second story DLC. So honestly, if you were gonna like get into this game, I feel like that was a really good time. There's lots of story stuff to do, lots of like single player campaign stuff to do if you're interested. They have a progression system in the game. They always have, but you know, in case you didn't know, there's a progression system in the game. And if you manage to get in on this weekend activity, I'll try and put this video up as early as I can, but if you manage to get in on this weekend activity, then you could get some cool extras. It's awesome. Whether or not they made the game a little bit easier to watch, do not know. And as a final bit of news, something that I think is super precious. It's not something that's like, oh my god, amazing news. It's just like, D&D has been put into the Toy Hall of Fame for its influence on video games. There's a place in Rochester, New York called the Strong Museum of Play, and they have basically like a Hall of Fame for toys that they think were really influential on the future of toys and games. So they decided to add Dungeons and Dragons into this Toy Hall of Fame because they feel very strongly that Dungeons and Dragons has affected so many video games that came after it, right? Like there are so many games that take after the kind of core concept of how D&D is played, and it's influenced so many things after it. So I think that that's awesome. I'm glad that Dungeons and Dragons is getting like the thumbs up. You've come a long way from people saying that you're a devil game. It originally came out in 1974, and another thing that was put into the Toy Hall of Fame this year is the swing. So, I mean, if Dungeons and Dragons is considered to be as influential as the swing and the toy ball, then I feel like we've made it. I feel like almost every adventure RPG that I play has some kind of Dungeons and Dragons mechanics inside of it, even just small ones or limited ones, you know? I hadn't really thought about it until I was reading about this, and I was like, huh, that's very true. Anywho, that's been my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you would like to watch my streams, you can find them at twitch.tv/dexteritybonus. I stream like 5 days a week. I would love it if you would come and hang out. And, is there anything else? Is there anything else that I need to talk about? I don't think so. You're all lovely. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you next weekend. Okay? Bye-bye. Mwah. I just tooted. Y'all can't stop me.